Minority Leader Mitch McConnell spoke today about the destruction of the chemical weapons at the Bluegrass Army Depot and throughout the country, calling it a major milestone decades in the making.
It's been the honor of a lifetime to lead this charge in the Senate and to push for the safety of Madison County families each step of the way.
Bluegrass Army Depot destroyed the final chemical agents Friday. Today, photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw and WKYT's Alyssa Williams talk with people who live in Madison County about this accomplishment.
It's a relief. We haven't seen any negative side effects, felt or heard any side effects.
This has been something that's been hanging over our heads my whole life.
It's a success story at this point, the best we know. Things went well. There were very few accidents on site.
Benjamin Hill says he no longer needs this long roll of plastic wrap used to cover his doors and windows in case of a chemical leak. He's lived across the street from the depot for the past 3 years. He's not 100% convinced all of the chemical weapons are destroyed, nor is he assured there weren't any accidents or leaks during the eradication process.
I would be extremely surprised that no oopsies, as you put it, happened. And if they did, I don't believe that they would tell anybody.
At times, Hill says he could feel the destruction.
They're old single pane windows from the 60s, and yeah, it would rattle the windows.
There are two sides to this. One, it's completed, but oh yes, what about all of those jobs?
Richmond Mayor Robert Blythe says the city has been working with a consultant to see which workers will retire and which ones will find similar jobs in the county.
There will be people on site for a while because of the next stage, which is demolition of those things that need to go.
Potentially thousands of jobs will be erased once everything is cleared.
So we're trying to do everything we can to be ready for the transition of many of those employees who choose to stay in this area.
Now it seems those safety measures you see across the county aren't as important. So what to do with all this plastic wrap? Hill says he's going to use it as floor cover on a construction site. In Richmond, Alyssa Williams, WKYT.
Mayor Blythe says the nerve agent destruction process brought in a new Richmond exit off of I-75, and that eventually attracted the Buc-ee's Travel Center, which brought in more jobs to the area.
All right, so there's another plus, right? We wanted to know what happens next at the depot with the chemical weapons having been destroyed, and according to the Army, the areas of the plant that have come in contact with the chemical agents will be decontaminated and the equipment will be dismantled, as the mayor was speaking about there. And that process alone could take 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, still some time to go on that.